Hi, welcome to Coffee and Closers. I'm Mikkel Abador, and I want to personally invite you to join me and one of today's top performing sales stars for a cup of coffee and authentic conversation. And our collective goal is that you will walk away with tangible knowledge that you can apply to your sales efforts today. Are you ready? Well, grab a cup, fill it up, and let's get into another episode of Coffee and Closers.
Welcome to Coffee and Closers. Put your hands together. Is this a party or not? Who's been here before? All right, thank you guys. Keep your hands up. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You guys are the reasons why we keep doing this. As long as you keep showing up, we will continue to do this, and thanks for following us in this mission into 2019. Whose first time is it? All right, thank you, welcome. Well, for you guys, and you guys only, there's free driven coffee. Okay, there's free driven coffee for everyone. Well, thank you for coming. So this is how it's going to go. For the next 30 minutes, I'm going to ask today's guest, who I'm a huge fan of, a handful of questions. And we're going to record that, and it's going to be distributed on our blog and our vlog so that you guys can relive it over and over. And for those that can't make it, you can learn from this Sales Enablement All-Star. Before that, though, I want to thank some people, and we have a few announcements. So Allison brought them up. We're going to start rolling out a couple of announcements for 2019 slowly this quarter, and I'll get to one. But first off, I want to thank Allison. So you guys may not know, but somehow this amazing woman decided to be my wife one day on her terms, not mine, obviously. And since she took it over, it has slowly grown to be the most celebrated sales show independently produced sales show in the state. So put your hands together for Alice and all she does. I want to thank Driven Coffee. Thanks, guys. And WeWork for helping make this event awesome. If you're listening to it at home, you probably heard an amazing song. That is written and recorded by Alex Rossi. Alex Rossi is a local musician. We are huge fans of his. Go support his music. And if you're watching at home, you're also realizing that this is being recorded. So we have more announcements to come with the recording and the plans that we have for this show. But I want to, Jensen Studios, put your hands together for them. Jake and Eric have been a part of this from about the halfway point and have taken the quality of the production up to a level we never thought possible. Real quick announcement before we get into the show. Announcement number one. Of all the feedback and conversations we had, people are like, man, I love this event. We leave inspired, we leave motivated. But one thing that was missing is that authentic connection and relationship. So of all the surveys that we took, people said, it'd be really great. You have all these amazing salespeople, and you have all these amazing companies. What if we were to merge the two together? So people looking for opportunities or companies looking to hire people like you, people that take time out of their day to sharpen their skills. That's someone I want to hire. So we're going to be launching, we don't have a name for it, so don't quote me, but it's going to be Coffee and Closers Marketplace. So almost once a month, we're going to have almost like a mini job fair for people that want to connect with some of the top, the best places to work in the state, and vice versa, people that want to connect with those type of people. So look for that shortly. That announcement will follow. All right? So back to the show. If you guys saw any of the promotion videos, and if you guys have hung out with Josh and I, you probably realize we give each other crap a lot. But I grew up in an Italian family, and the rule there was you only rib the people that you love. And I adore this guy. I've been wanting to have him on the show for a very, very long time. He's a dear friend of mine. Why is because of all the episodes that are coming up, they're going to be themed. So you guys are going to gain some specific knowledge on specific things. And Josh, if you don't know Josh Fedie, he's the Sales Enablement King. Sales Enablement, #smarketing, is kind of like a mashing of sales and marketing together. And he, in my opinion, in Minnesota, invented the sauce. So we're going to kick off the new year with him. But what you don't know about is the reason why he got here is because they used to call him the cold call king. In fact, he cold called Ross Perot. Do you guys know who Ross Perot is? Good-looking fella, about this tall, ran for president a couple times unsuccessfully. Anyway, he called Ross Perot out of nowhere and sold him a $45,000 painting. Everyone needs a $45,000 painting, am I right? Anyway, he did that and quickly realized there's got to be a better way. So he started taking kind of meeting with marketing teams and mashing them together. And through the last 20 years of his career, has done that very successfully, which is why he just launched salesreach.io. If you are not familiar with it, I'll say it again, salesreach.io. In my opinion, it's the best sales tool since the cell phone. So we are so excited to learn from Josh Fedie. Get your butt over here, buddy. Come on.
Wow. Best sales tool since the cell phone. Okay. Hey, first, this is an amazing room. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out. This makes me feel way more important than I am, so thank you very much.
We're all about, boosting egos here,
Yeah,
man.
that's good. Yeah.
All right, so 20 years, I think I did it in, 15, 20 seconds? So why don't you fill in the blanks? Tell us about Josh Fedie.
Sure. My sales career has been long and varied. I started working when I was 8 years old. I was penalized.
Isn't that illegal?
Yes. I was penalized by the government when I was 10 years old for not reporting my taxes when I was 8 and 9. Literally have been, no joke. My father was like, you've been served? And I was 10. Anyway. And I've been working every day since. I've sold cars. I've been a telemarketer. Everybody loves telemarketers. State Patrol Troopers Association. I have sold marketing, advertising, a lot of services. I've sold consumer products. I've done both sales and marketing roles in my career. So it's been a long and crazy road. And yes, I sold a painting one painting to Ross Perot on one call. It was really crazy. And I'll just take that story to my grave. I'll tell everybody forever and ever, but nobody knows who he is. Do you know who Dana Carvey is? Yeah, Dana Carvey did a great Ross Perot impression. So look up Dana Carvey, Ross Perot. You'll be good to go. Then you'll know who this is. Yeah. But now I think at the core, I've always been a better entrepreneur than employee. And so I've always had different things that I've tried on the side. I've always had a strong side hustle, so I've always been selling myself. This new venture for me has been a ton of fun, and it's yet again selling something totally different. Now I'm not selling a service. Now I'm selling a product, which same sort of tactics and ways about it, but yeah, totally new experience for me.
Amazing. What? All right, so so it's 2019. It's a new year, and last year, what was the buzzword? It was AI. This year, it's sales enablement.
Sales enablement.
I want to talk about sales enablement, but I kind of want to get to know the state of sales, because we did this show when we started was to kind of diffuse, the whole deal where salespeople make stories up and whatnot, which you obviously have taken us back a couple years now with your make-believe 8-year-old story, but so thanks for that. I'm kidding. But I want to learn about the state of sales in 2019, because I think people are starting to realize that sales and marketing are very similar things.
Yeah. So, sales has changed a ton. So did we already do the show of hands how many people in the room are in sales? Okay. And how many in the room are in marketing? Okay, I'm really happy that some marketing people showed up as well. And honestly, it is the same thing, right? So sales has changed a ton where buyers have all of the control, right? When salespeople finally engage with a prospect, it's after a long journey that they've already gone through, most likely on your website, of just self-educating. What is the information that's out there? Is this a company that I even want to engage with? Do I want to reach out and talk to a salesperson? By the time they make up that decision, our roles have changed a ton. We're not here to sell anymore. We're here to advise. We're here to help. We're here to make sure that the solutions that they've kind of determined would be a good fit are going to be a good fit. And they're talking to us because they want us to validate that what was said online on our website is fact, that we will actually do the things that we said we would do. So it puts us in a very different position. We aren't selling anymore. And where there's a problem right now, and why words like sales enablement and smarketing are becoming so prevalent, is because sales and marketing teams now more than ever need to be married. They need to work very, very closely, because if we're being honest, and there's way too many salespeople in this room to say this to, but marketing really is the group that sells everything. Whoa, I just said that. I know, gasp. Marketing does, though, right? We're there to help facilitate, and yes, we really do push that needle, but the decisions today have been made before they reach out to us for the most part. We're just there to not drop the ball and screw it up. And so, it's really important that we're working closely together and developing these synergies and these tools within the organization so that when marketing is building these assets, there's awareness stage assets to get the prospects interested, and then there's more the final stage where they're ready to commit, where they're ready to move forward with the deal. Those assets need to be ready to go for salespeople today in a digital environment where it's quick because speed always wins, right? We need to be able to grab those things and go. And that's really where sales has changed. We're facilitating more than standing on a corner with a whole bunch of cool watches under our jacket saying, buy this one, it's the best, right?
So I agree with you. Anyone else? Can we get an amen? All right. How many people sell products? Oh, wow. How many people sell services? Most of you guys. Talk about sales enablement and the service, because I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But no one's gonna. I think it's you open up a coat and there's a bunch of people in there. That's kind of weird. Selling service and selling and products are completely different things. So how would you talk about bridge the gap between sales enablement and selling yourself?
Right. So when you're selling services, look, honestly, I think that it's both the same process, right? I mean, you're educating consumers. Education comes first. You're putting out information to help them understand exactly what you're selling, whatever it is, whether it's a product or a service, how it's going to help them achieve their goals. And so they're finding all of that before me or you ever come into that picture, right? They're not having that conversation with us.
Right.
And so we just need to be able to, when that conversation finally, when it's determined that we finally need to come into the picture, we're the gatekeeper finally, right? For years, salespeople have had to deal with a gatekeeper, the receptionist at the front desk that wouldn't let us through. Now we're the gatekeeper. We're the gatekeeper of the proposal. You've read a bunch of stuff. You want our service. You want our, whatever our product is. You want this from us. You have to talk to me, because otherwise you don't get a contract and you don't get to move forward. Sorry, right? And that's happening with product companies as well, even with websites where the product is for sale on the website, right? So look at a company like Infor. Ryan, you sat right in the front row. Good for you. This is great. Right.
At least he's short so that the camera doesn't.
Right. And everybody gets to look at his really cute hair tied up from behind. But regardless, see, I did it. I did the hair joke this time.
I told him not to do it.
Did you
but
know
he
it
did
was going to happen? But even with companies like that, people can, for the most part, self-serve on the website. But we're still critical in that process because everybody has that moment of buyer's remorse right before they hit the button. How many of us have gone to a website? It doesn't matter what it is. It could be Amazon, right? There's a reason there's the wish list on these sites, because you fill your cart with all your hopes and dreams and shiny objects. And then you get to that final moment and you've entered your credit card information even. And then you're like, but maybe tomorrow, right? And that's where sales really can be effective now. There are tools. There's a company that I'm a huge fan of called Drift. They have an incredible chat system that you can put on your website. Tools like that are incredibly powerful, and that's a sales enablement tool, right? Where you can capture people when they're in that moment and they're about to make a decision, but they're having that remorse, and they just need one of us to interact with them and help them understand that, yes, what you're doing, this is the right decision. Move forward in your journey. What are your questions? I'm here for you. I'm here to help. I'm here to advise. I'm here to ensure that you're doing the right thing for your business. Why are you second guessing this? Where do you think this isn't going to help you? How do you need this to help you? How do you need this to help your organization? Let's talk about that, and then they'll hit that buy now button. Did that answer? That was probably a way long-winded version of the answer.
I fell asleep about halfway through that.
Beautiful.
No, that was fantastic. I can't help myself. No, that's fantastic.
The roast of Josh Fedie. Welcome, everybody.
No, that's the kind of stuff that I was hoping to get. I mean, selfishly, I did invite him for you guys, but there's also some questions that I had, and that whole Zappos Tony kind of model of the marketing thing started years ago, and one of the most inspirational podcasts I ever listened to was when they decided to break down those walls. Because when we were at Oracle, there was marketing on this floor and there was sales on this floor, and I always thought, how do they know, or vice versa, not to blame one side or the other, but how do they know, how do I know what to say and what I'm saying is correct to what the market needs today, other than what I'm just hearing from my client, but also how does marketing know what the clients are saying, right? And that's what I'm at.
Right. I think that there's everybody in this room that's in marketing right now, if your organization is utilizing any sort of inbound best practices right now in the organization, one thing that you're noticing is that marketing has a ton of access to really valuable information. You as a sales rep rarely see that information. You have not been granted the authorization within your portal, whatever product you're using, Eloqua, Marketo, HubSpot, Salesforce. You don't have that information to know how many times that PDF was opened or how many times they visited the website. That's really important information when you're in a sales process, because that helps you gauge whether or not this is someone that's actually going to commit and how hard you should push on them. If you knew that somebody looked at this services page on your website 80 times this week, you would probably be calling them every other second. If you knew they had only looked at it once 4 months ago, you'd probably take them off your top 10 hit list for every morning, right? That's valuable information. The better we can bring those sales and marketing teams together, the better we can all share that information. And so I think that right now there's a huge push for many, many companies that are popping up in the sales enablement space. I mean, it is growing super, super fast. And what's happening right now is that the sales enablement organizations are kind of residing on their own over here, and then the marketing ones are still kind of over here. And there's people making some fixes to bring them together a little bit, but it's still not a true one-source hub just yet. There's some that are getting close. Regardless, marketing shouldn't have all the fun, right? They should absolutely not have all the fun. Salespeople need that as well, right? And so those tools, I think in 2019 are going to start, everybody's going to have them, whatever it is. It might be my product, but there's so many of them out there. Everyone needs that access to those analytics and that information to know, is this person ready to go or not just yet?
So since you shamelessly brought up your product, I'm kidding.
I did.
I want you to. Usually we don't go through products, but I'm fanboy, and I'm crushing on sales reach. I think it's a huge thing. We want to talk about sales. I want to get to know you, right? I think at some point we get to know this guy. We're kind of going off script, but I want to know why. Like, you've 20-year career.
Yep.
You know, you're obviously passionate about sales enablement. Now it's becoming a buzzword, but why?
Yeah.
Sales reach. Why?
Yeah, so because I've worked on both sides, because I've been a director of marketing and I've also been a director of sales in organizations, I know firsthand that if I have better transparency to those things and if I have better accessibility to the things that I need as a salesperson, I can sell better, faster, smarter, all those things that everybody's hoping to do, right? And so for me, it was just one of those deals where the tool I wanted didn't exist. So I built it. My tool right now, I actually built myself 10 years ago. I owned my own marketing agency called the Adholics. It no longer exists. It was a thing, and it was a ton of fun. But at the time, I know enough coding to be dangerous, and I wasn't happy with how I was going after business. I wasn't happy with just putting attachments in emails and trying to win business that way. It just didn't make sense to me. So I created my own page, that template that I would use for every prospect that I went after, that I could just distribute all the content I wanted to put in front of them. And I was closing deals like crazy using this because no one else was doing anything like this. 10 years ago, this is like pre-HubSpot days. Nobody was doing this. And then when my agency crumbled, and we'll get to the failures, I know you're going to ask about failures, so we'll talk about that later.
I'm saving a lot of time for that,
yeah.
just so you know.
So when I love you. So when that crumbled, and I went back to being a full-time employee at organizations, they would not allow me to use my own tool. And the reason was because marketing holds the keys on those things. You're a sales guy. You don't get to play designer. You don't get to do all of this stuff. So we don't want you using this tool. So I stopped, and I threw it away, and I didn't even think about it for many, many years. And then what ended up happening was I went to work for an agency that specialized in HubSpot.
Yeah.
And I took all the HubSpot training, got a couple certifications, but I'm really bad at test taking, so I didn't pass most of them, in full transparency. Regardless, someone's going to fact check this. I don't want to lie. So I took the trainings, and as I was taking them, I was literally sweating at my desk. And Tyler is here. I was working with him at the time, so he can attest to this. I was getting upset because I knew that this product I had made 10 years ago would be amazing in their ecosystem, and I knew that once they got to the sales enablement portion of the training, it was going to be there, and I was going to kick myself for the rest of my life for missing my $1 million opportunity. And when I got to the sales enablement portion of the HubSpot training, nothing against HubSpot at all, or any of those inbound companies,
Careful.
but they essentially said, well, salespeople, make sure to enter your conversations in your CRM, have a nice life. And that is not sales enablement. Because that is not customer facing. Your customer doesn't know what you're putting into that CRM. They have no idea. It helps you to better remember where your last conversation left off, and that is good. That is sales enablement, so that's fine. But we need better tools to really engage and interact. So I went out to Boston, and we were going to be there for the big HubSpot event. And I sent Dan Tyre a note before I got out there. And I said, Dan, I'm building something. He's their director of sales at HubSpot. I said, Dan, I'm going to build something, and I want to show it to you, and I want to see what you think of this before I waste the next 5 years of my life on a bad idea. And he agreed to sit down with me, which was amazing. He's the 6th employee of HubSpot, insanely smart person, knows sales like the back of his hand, and I think invented the word smarketing, but I might be wrong about that. But
I thought I
it.
just did.
Nope,
but-
you did not. But I sat down with him, and I showed him the concept, and I showed him the business plan, and he goes, this is really good. And I said, well, I know that, but this is going to cost a lot of money to build. What do I do? And he goes, well, you hire a team. And I said, cool. I'm a sole breadwinner in my family. I have no money to do something like this. Do you want to invest? And he kind of smirked and giggled and said, you're cute, but no, I don't invest in ideas. Build it, and then let's have a conversation, okay? So I flew home with my tail between my legs a little bit because I honestly thought I was going to sell him on the first conversation, which to this day I'm like, why? Why did I think that? Regardless, he's been a great resource to me ever since. But I came home, started just throwing this idea out in front of as many people as would listen, and I found that a lot of people were really, really interested in it, and a lot of those people are in this room. People like Aaron Egert, wherever he's sitting, he's been a tremendous advisor to me while I've been building this, and I can't thank him enough. There's so many people, but regardless, I was able to get some people to throw some money into this idea. Before we even had design mocks, I raised $250,000, okay? And with that money, I was able to start moving forward. I got even more lucky because I found 2 developers and a UX designer that didn't even want to be paid. They just wanted equity on the idea. So I was able to get this entire thing from idea to V1 beta launch without paying any money out for it. I mean, essentially the only money I'm paying for now is just the equipment and the office space and the overhead type stuff. But it's been an incredible ride. And that's where it came from.
How would you compare and contrast success? Like, you've had a lot of success in your 20 years, but, you know, we always ask the question of, tell us about your successes, but is this that crown jewel? Like, do you feel like this is what you, all of those years?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do, because, okay, so if I'm to go way back, originally I didn't want to be in sales. I didn't want to be in a corporate role at all. I wanted to be a professional musician. That's what this stupid tattoo is all about.
Good, I'm glad you said it.
I know. I have to wear long sleeve shirts every day of my life because I used to be a musician.
How long was your ponytail? Like
I never had a ponytail.
Between 1 to 5 inches.
My hair's curly, so I had an afro. No joke. Fact check it all you want. I did. I had an afro pick in the back. No, but so my background.
Just making things up.
No, this is all true. So
is your name even Josh?
It's not.
Us
I'm Fred. Fred McGurvey.
I see.
I don't know. Regardless, started in music, so recording software is something that's second nature to me. Recording equipment right now for a modern salesperson is like, you need that. That is a tool that you need to master.
Yep.
You need to know how to record video and audio today if you're going to sell. So if you don't, start educating yourself on that. Then moved into marketing because I was selling cars, and I was a telemarketer. And my bassist in my band's father's agency was struggling, and he said, I need someone that sells. Can you come sell for me? And I said, sure, why not? Let's see how it goes. Best experience of my life. Best job I've ever had, hands down. Taught me everything, and I learned that I love marketing, and I learned that I'm good at selling, right? And that's where that all started. I soon after met my now wife, who told me she didn't want to date a traveling musician, so I quit the music thing, went full on into marketing and sales, never looked back.
That's cool. That's cool. You know, of all this, we had a lot of hands raised, salespeople. How many people kind of deep down think they might have a little marketing in their belly? How many people?
Be careful.
Okay. The rest of you, I'm just going to assume you're all on. like 100% sales? Is that okay? Can you describe the difference? Because you found this out early on. I just found this out. You know, Coffee and Closers and working on this kind of made me go, wow, I really like promoting stuff and I like creating ads and so on. And so now with some of these side projects we've been doing, I've been kind of the marketing guy, but it took me forever to realize and be okay with it.
Yeah.
I think as a salesperson, sometimes we're like, hey, I also like the creative side, but I've never been given that opportunity.
Yeah.
So for the few people that raise their hands, here's your permission, you know, pursue it. But you know,
At the end of the day, people buy from people they trust. Personal branding is insanely important right now. So for all the people that are in sales that don't want to be in marketing, you are in marketing. You are, effectively. You're in the business of marketing yourself, and you should be doing that every single day. If you work at an organization that doesn't have a podcast studio set up somewhere, ask them to set that up for you. Ask for that to be one of the tools that you can utilize in your sales and prospecting efforts. Video is the most powerful tool right now in sales, and if you're not leveraging video in your sales strategy right now, you're really missing some great opportunities. But the difference, honestly, I don't see a difference. I really don't. Everybody in an organization is responsible for business development in some capacity, and everybody in an organization is responsible for marketing in some capacity, right? What I would say as far as like sales, I wanted people in retention and recruiting to come to this, and I don't think anyone did. Did someone in retention and recruiting come to this? Awesome. You're in sales as well. You're in sales because you're trying to find people that are a good fit within the organization. You're trying to find people that are going to sing the praises of your organization. People are looking for endorsements before they engage with a brand today, and everybody has the ability to be that endorsement, and everybody should be that endorsement, and companies should be comfortable with enabling not just their sales team, but their entire team to be seen as thought leaders in their industry and provide them the tools that allow them to truly be a thought leader, someone that people can actually find. If you follow me on LinkedIn, I am sorry, because I am blasting that with videos all day long, and I hope that you find value in them, but that is what you have to do in today's environment. You have to constantly have messages going out. I'm a salesperson, but I'm marketing all day long. The line is very, very, very thin.
Okay, so because you and I, we're kind of stark contrast in between our editing abilities. You edit your own stuff. I have Jensen Studios edit our stuff.
I wish I had Jensen Studios to edit my stuff.
So maybe there's somebody out here, there's probably two people listening to this going, I'm in sales, but that doesn't mean you're super outgoing. I think that's the biggest misconception is a lot of sales folks that I knew, the best ones are more like engineers. They have a process, they follow that process, and when they're in that theater, they're brilliant. But when they're out of that theater, they can go back to being almost the introvert that they naturally are. So for people that want to, you're saying we should do video, we should do podcast.
Yep.
How would you overcome that if you were? So it's two for question.
Yep.
Overcome that if maybe that's not your natural style to be on camera. And number two is, what advice would you give folks that say, I don't have a Jensen Studios. I also have no idea how to use Pro Tools.
Yep.
How do I get started?
Okay, so first, imposter syndrome is real. I struggle from imposter syndrome like you would not believe. I am also, I suffer tremendously from when I'm in rooms like this. I would much prefer to just be by myself in my own room, okay? So, and I also, in the back of my head, every time I create something, I feel like no one's gonna care about this. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. You have to get over that. You have to just try. You have to just start. You have to. Sales is a process, and incorporating those tools into your sales process is a must. It has to become part of your process. You should be using them, all of those tools, all of the time. So just getting out there. Now, as far as the learning curve, The first thing I will say, the other buzzword that a lot of people are using right now, other than sales enablement, sales acceleration, and marketing, is growth mindset. You are going to see growth mindset all over in 2019. Everybody needs to adapt and take on more of a growth mindset in their own life. If you don't know how to do something, learn how to do something. It's that easy. I never went to college, not one day. I barely graduated high school. I was voted most likely to never stop dreaming by my senior class in my yearbook. Fact check it. And it wasn't a compliment. Okay?
Did they just make that up for you? That sounds like not a standard title.
My picture, most likely to never stop dreaming, because everybody thought I was just going to go nowhere, be nothing, because I had all these great hopes and dreams, but I wasn't going to follow the normal path. Okay? You can learn anything you want. We live in a day and a time where literally, I know people make jokes about being a YouTube expert, but like you can become a YouTube expert on just about anything. That's where I've learned how to use my cameras. That's where I've learned how to use the editing software for all that stuff. I'm not an expert by any means. I am not a Jensen Studios, but I can do enough to make a quality enough product to put in front of people. But beyond that, if you do not want to adapt, if you do not want to learn those tools, if you own a phone, you have everything you need to make good quality videos with decent audio that is acceptable to utilize in your sales efforts on social channels, and you know how to use a phone. There isn't one person in this room that doesn't know how to use a phone. So you can start today doing that. And then if you really get into it and you feel like this is actually helping me achieve my goals, I should maybe invest a little more, then you can go out and buy the equipment. Mick and I geek out over this all the time because my office is basically Candyland for equipment at this point. Then you can get all the equipment and you can do some really fun things with video. But you can do it today with what you have right now. You can make a video right now while you're in the room. You don't have to. I'd appreciate it. And you could say, wow, I'm listening to some real big knowledge bombs from Josh Fedie, and just record all you want.
Here we go. I'm getting the hook, you guys. I knew this was going to happen with you, man.
We always run out of time.
I selfishly just had so many questions, and so just so you guys know that in about a few minutes, we're gonna pull the plug and we're gonna open it up for you guys to ask your questions. I'm sure you've been bubbling up, have a lot of questions, so we're gonna get there.
I hope so.
But one thing that I want to ask you is we talk about failures. That's why I love this show, man. I did not know that about you. So if anyone that knows my story, probably most of you don't, is I was told by my high school guidance counselor that I should get good with a hammer because I'm never going to amount to anything either, which was ironic because I was failing shop class at the time.
Yeah.
And sales salvage.
You have all your fingers? You good? Okay.
This one's been reattached.
Yeah.
But like sales to me, I mean, that's why I have such an affinity for it, is that sales really did salvage.
Yep.
I don't know what the hell I'd be doing with my life right now if it weren't for sales.
Yep.
So if we could transition into maybe a failure and an outcome, like failure to accomplishment, just for time's sake, I'd love to hear it. I think, has anyone here ever failed? Right?
Be honest.
You know what? We all have, and it's the one thing I think that we try to capture on this show is we can talk about how great Josh Fedie is and how good looking he is.
Let's talk about those things
more. But it's when we fail, right? And it's how we respond to that failure, and it's how we pick ourselves up from that failure.
Yep.
And it's the measure of a professional. And in sales, we get paid to fail. We get paid to hear no over and over until we hear that yes. Amen?
Yeah.
So let's hear about that, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to say the cliche thing. I don't believe in failures. I believe in learning moments, right? Have I failed in life? Yes, I have failed epically in my life a couple of times. And here's what I would say about failures. Expect them. Expect hardships in your life. Everyone in this room is going to experience an incredible hardship at some time in their life, maybe multiple times over. It is a part of life. It's how you get back up, it's how you respond to it that matters, right? When those failures happen, when those hardships come into your life, if you just accept that you're a failure and you don't ever try anything again, you will never succeed again. What I have found is the most important thing with any failure in my life is to not have a rash reaction to jump into something else, to jump into another solution. Take time. Understand what went wrong. all the things that went wrong before you determine what you're going to do next, because otherwise you're just going to jump into something else ill-informed without the tools that you should have from learning from that failure and hardship to make this next thing better. And it's stepping stones, right? I mean, I sound like a therapist at this time, but it's stepping stones. Like every time I try something, I've tried to launch like 12 businesses in my life, right? I like to fail fast. That's a strategy that I've always incorporated into the mix because I don't want to waste too much time on any idea if no one's going to want it. So typically when I try to start a business, I'll reach out to the biggest corporation that I can find in Minnesota and schedule a meeting with them and bring them an MVP and say, this is what I'm building right now. Would you use this in your organization? And if they say, whatever they say, I either go forward with it or I stop right now, right? I don't want to go any further than that. That's
brilliant. That's brilliant.
It just works for me, right? And it doesn't work for everybody, and you need to be able to open those doors, obviously, right? But look, failure is a part of life. I've failed a ton. I'm embarrassed about some of the failures I've had in my life. Everybody, I think, is. But what I'm not embarrassed about is what I learned from them and what I did next because of them, right? So that's what I focus on now.
Sage advice, man. So who's brand new to sales? Who just got into it? Okay. So if that was you sitting right there,
yeah,
what would you tell yourself?
Get into marketing.
What would you wanted to hear from What's some advice you could give somebody who's just getting out?
Yeah. No, I mean, look, the number one piece of advice is, and I'd give this to everybody, is vet the companies that you work for as good as you possibly can. Because one of the toughest things in the world to do is to sell if you either A, don't like the services they provide or products they are selling, or B, don't believe in the quality of the team that you are representing. Yes. It is impossible to sell, and I'm sure there's people doing it, but it is impossible for me personally to sell if I can't get behind the vision and the dream. Because for me, again, I'm more of an entrepreneur than an employee. So if I'm gonna help make you rich instead of making myself rich, you better be doing something really cool. And you better own up to the promises that I make on your behalf with these prospects. And the second you drop the ball on that, I'm out of here. So the second thing I would say is do not be afraid to get out when you learn that it's not a good fit. If and when you learn that something is not a good fit, get the hell out. Personal branding is everything, everything. And a bad company fit will destroy your personal brand just as much as it will your mental capacities and your physical, just everything. The weight that I gain when I'm working at a bad employer is amazing. I have my bad employer outfits at home.
that's okay.
I'm coming down. I'm coming down. No. Jeez. Anyway, that's what I would say. Don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. This is for anyone going into a new role. Don't be afraid to ask the hard questions. Don't be afraid to cold call one of the employees at an organization and just say, hey, what's it like there? I won't tell anyone I talk to you. What's it really like there, right? Pick a couple people because you might get the one office grouch that just hates the place and it might be amazing. But don't be afraid to do those sorts of things. Bring them out for coffee. Choose who you want to help win, and you'll be more successful.
You guys, is there any other way to kick off 2019? Put your hand together for Josh Fedie. Honest to God, man.
All right, so what do we think? What'd you learn? Well, if you like that, check out coffeeclosers.com for upcoming episodes, recordings, and more. And don't forget to check out our sponsors. Each one has been hand-selected. They are best in class. Until next time, we'll see you at the next Coffee and Closers. Cheers.
Say live, come on live a life we love. Gotta live, I said live a life we love.